coming into the shot here. Oops. There we go. Got the Miss America crown. And let's see here. I think we've got the shot taken care of. That's what happens when you're a one-woman show here. All right, trying to get in the right lighting because there is some sun here. I'm in my little oasis in my backyard, and just thought this would be a great place to do this chat. As you can see, I've got my tarnished official Miss America crown from when I was Miss Coon Rapids in the Miss America program in the Miss Minnesota Scholarship Organization. My name is, I'm just making sure here we're still going live out here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carla Berline, and did I lose my, nope, looks like, okay, there we are. My name is Carla Berline, and I'm from Around Town TV. And I hope you can all hear me. We're going to talk about the Miss America controversy. I'm going to make sure, see who's online here. Oh, hello. Hi, Bonnie. Sounds like everybody can hear me. So we have a lot of people online, and many of you may not even care, but many of you have heard that there have been a lot in the news with the Miss America controversy going on, and we all know that, or I shouldn't assume we all know, but our former Miss America, Gretchen Carlson, is our current chairwoman for the Miss America organization. My name is Carla Berline from Around Town TV, and tonight we're going to talk about that controversy, and we're going to talk about what's going on, but more from a business perspective. My job here tonight isn't to bash anyone, because quite frankly, I understand where a lot of people are coming from, but my point tonight is to kind of explain to those of you who are hearing about all of this people wear their underwears in a bunch and maybe don't understand what truly is going on. I am going to see if I sit this way, if it kind of gets the sun out of, kind of still have the sun on this side of my face. So maybe if I slide over this way, I'm trying to get the right angle because the sun is right at that golden hour. And typically I would be doing this inside, but I thought let's do it outside and let's chat. So maybe this will be a little bit better. So anyway, back to the pageant and what's going on, and a little bit more from a business perspective. First, I'm going to start and explain for those of you who think there's only one pageant. There's Miss America and there's Miss USA, is the two premier pageants. You can hear the birds chirping. Love it. And the difference between them for many, many years, they were actually one pageant, and Miss USA broke off many, many years ago. And Miss USA was always considered the beauty pageant, and Miss America was a scholarship pageant, or for a while it was the scholarship organization, and they dropped pageant. Then they brought the pageant back in, and now as chairwoman Gretchen is trying to do is to make it a competition, take it into the future. And the reason, hello to everybody tuning in, thank you all for tuning in. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there's a lot of people who are passionate about it, competed in it as it was back in my day. I was grateful for all areas of competition, especially swimsuit, because I have still today, I'm able to maintain my weight within 5 to 7 pounds because of what the trainer taught me, but we'll get into a little bit more about what my thoughts are there as well. There are many young ladies that I realize maybe stay away from the pageant. I know of one in particular that could have been Miss America. She actually has a darling figure, but was afraid of the swimsuit competition, and it was very personal to her. I know of a lot of people who are afraid of the talent portion. I'm sure some with scholastics when that's involved. So no matter what type of competition is or what type of sport, it's important that it fits that person's passion, their talents, their interests, their skill set. So in taking a look at what Miss America is trying to do and moving it into the future, there's nothing wrong with that. But I have a little bit of a problem tying it to the Me Too movement. I get that they're sort of correlated, but really let's keep it separate. Miss America is rich in history and tradition. It started as a swimsuit competition in Atlantic City back in the day and evolved into talent and scholastics, giving women an opportunity when back in the day there wasn't sports for women. There weren't many opportunities other than cheerleading, and even the music in school wasn't as strong as it is today. And again, we've struggled there too in many school systems throughout the country with the arts and scholastics and in the musical piece and the art piece of that as well. So when you look at the full gamut of what this pageant was designed to do, it was designed to evolve into and has been known as one of the largest scholarship pageants in the world. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Katie. Hi, Ann. Hi, O'Neill. Hi, Bonnie. And I see all of the rest of you that are online watching too, and I really, really appreciate you tuning in. So, when in speaking about what is going on with the pageant and where it's going, I have many friends that are so excited that talent's going to become more of a percentage again. Back when Gretchen won Miss America, talent was 50%. And of course, a child prodigy and that type of talent. And she also did very well in every other category, or of course, she went to become Miss America. But not every young lady is that talented either. Historically, Miss America is the swimsuit winner. However, in Minnesota, I would say, and this is a generalization, more times than not, I have seen in the last 3, 4 decades, the talent winner becomes Miss Minnesota and goes on. We have a really good, talented, smart group of women here in Minnesota, and this past Miss Minnesota program was a very good example of that. Now, I'm going to step aside from the pageant piece and go to the business piece. For producing a show, what happened back in the early 2000s when reality shows became popular, one of the producers and the executive board with Miss America tried to take the pageant and make it into a reality show, when in reality it was the first reality show ever. And there was top 10 that would be called, and they competed in swimsuit, evening gown, and talent. Then top 5 was called. All of them were asked a question. A couple times they'd narrow it down to 3, but from top 5, then they'd bring out top 10. And many times they didn't even go to a top 5. It was just top 10 would compete, and then you'd hear fourth runner-up, third runner-up, second runner-up, first runner-up, and the winner. And that was the history and tradition that when I was a little girl, that many of us grew up wanting to be and aspire to be Miss America. And laugh as some of you may, a lot of young ladies did aspire to be Miss America. And because of the way it was produced, and it didn't make a mockery of women, where sometimes the TV studios and the producers I have seen in the last 5 to 10 years actually make a mockery of people that are attending Yale or Harvard or are prodigies in their talent, or doing, I've even seen where the lower third, it's called, below on the TV screen would say, for one of them, she likes hot dogs, when I knew she was an Ivy League student. So there's a few things there with the television producing piece of it that's important. Now, when ratings are failing, taking a program and getting rid of swimsuit and evening gown, which is what draws people to the program, isn't going to help with the ratings. And if that happens, what media buyers do when they're placing their big name, whether it's like a Coca-Cola or Revlon or a big name advertiser, into a program like this, they're doing it based on ratings of the previous year. And if it's going down or it's trending, they buy on what's called ratings and points based on huts and putts, households using television, people using television, and they'll usually do a demographic too. Probably women 18 to, it could be 18 to 35, or they could do 25 to 54. Really, this demographic would be like an 18 to 64. But when you're buying, even in a broad range like that, it's hard to get advertisers when the rating's low and you can't. The TV stations can't get a lot of money then because the rating is low. It's all based on that piece of it. So then you take away swimsuit and evening gown, which people are going to watch, and what happens, and this happened with Junior Miss before it became Distinguished Young Women, it almost folded. They lost Tyson. They lost Coca-Cola. and it almost went under. They rebranded into Distinguished Young Woman, took away the crown, took away the banner, and they've been successful. Minnesota sometimes struggles here to get a lot of contestants, but many of the states throughout the country get a large number. And 3, 4 years ago, when I went onto the website, they were giving their winner $50,000, which was even more than Miss America was receiving at the time. So they have survived, but it isn't on TV. So my point is, pageant television, they may have to split apart in order for it to succeed. What's really tough too is to take a Miss America pageant and try to be forward thinking, take out swimsuit, take out evening gown, but yet you still have a crown on. I think you're still going to get people not realizing that see her out in public that, well, they're going to assume swimsuit and evening gown. People aren't just going to figure that out. So that's a big, big thing. They need to figure out, do they really care about TV? And from my prediction, and I predicted this before, and it happened, when they tried to make Miss America into a reality show, it went off the air for several years. And then when they brought it back, they had to slowly, they kind of evolved into some of the history of what was rich in the tradition, and it did help. In fact, for a while, we had some of the best ratings. So that's where we're going to struggle with that piece, the business versus that. But then if you take Miss America, and let's say you're like, that's okay, we don't need it on TV, but we've got crown, you still have this crown on her head, and she's making these appearances. Most people in public aren't going to know that. The other piece, which I think has really caused a lot of people, and rightfully so, is you can't take a program where a woman's competed in swimsuit and bought a gown and maybe even had a custom gown. I think back to the day when Susie Lee hand customized my gown and the money I spent on my swimsuits and the training, and then all of a sudden mid competition you win Miss Minnesota and now you're going to Miss America and those are eliminated. It's a business. So you've got gown companies, you've got swimsuit companies that could go out of business because of this. Then you evolve into taking that out midstream. That's like signing an NFL football player for a contract, and then all of a sudden they no longer, now you're going to have them play hockey. And I know that to some of you that might feel like apples to oranges, but it really isn't. That's exactly what's happened here to be so drastic. Plus, when you've got percentages of something from interview to evening gown to swimsuit to talent, and now you're going to up talent to that level, all of a sudden you've created another problem that maybe someone has a little bit of a weaker talent. If that's where you're trying to evolve, you wait till you get through a competition year. And then my vote would be, if you're going to make a change, then the young ladies, when they start competing, know what they're competing in. Especially when you take a pageant and you say, well, now we're going to be a competition, and all these girls have entered thinking they competed in a pageant, and now you've changed it. That really creates, I say, a lot of people get their undies in a bunch. I'm seeing different posts. I didn't sit in the meetings. I didn't see some of what's going on. I don't approve of the nastiness. But I do feel there's a lack of leadership in terms of, at all levels, some of the local, some of the states, and some of the nationals. And when there's that lack of leadership with some of the issues going on, it's a trickle-down effect. And from the local level to the state levels to the national levels of the board, everybody should have a vote, if you will, or a say in some of the changes versus this is how it's going to be, and then we're stuck with it. Because we've got state directors and we've got local directors that all of a sudden are stuck with it and maybe wouldn't want to continue running a program. Maybe they don't agree with it. And how do you coach your young ladies midstream? I'm going to take a look at here with some of the, nothing to laugh about. I grew up watching you ladies and was constantly in awe and always looked forward to those days and evenings. You ladies were inspiring. Thank you, Katie. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Carmela. Hi, Bob. Hi, Scott. Hi, Jaron. Bruce, Mickey, Bree. We've got Allie, Andrea, James. We've got a lot of people online watching this. Tammy, Jody, Tina, Rebecca, Maite, Leanne. We've got just a bunch of people that are online, and a lot of them that aren't pageant people. So you get. And by the way, I'm not bashing Gretchen, and I'm not bashing the board. I was not fond of the previous board because I experienced some some terrible, I'll actually just say some very terrible things that have happened. And when my family was involved as a scholarship provider on the state level, and when we pulled away, we did try to speak to the national board, and they really didn't care because it is a volunteer program. These aren't paid positions. They have a lot of bigger fish to fry, and then come to find out there was a lot more going on. I'm about integrity, honesty, and leadership for women. One of the other programs I was talking about, which was Junior Mist, which is now Distinguished Young Women, Scholastics is a big thing for them. Talent, a big thing for them. Instead of swimsuit, you do a 12-minute workout routine, and then you are in a more of a cocktail attire to answer a question on stage. Not every young lady is going to be able to do those categories either, just like not every young lady or young man is going to be able to play hockey or football or baseball or softball. I mean, it's just, there are some skill sets that we have for different hobbies and sports, and there's some that we don't. I can't sing, but I was a baton twirler. I enjoyed it. I competed. It gave me confidence, which led me to the Miss America program, which actually helped me fund my education and launch my television career. So for me, I think the sun's kind of going down now. So sorry for that brightness there. That's like TV 101, but I didn't want to go inside, and I wanted to be out in my little beautiful oasis here. So, but getting back to that is what's causing a lot of the problems. Is we've got these passionate people who volunteered. There's many amazing states with sponsors, and because it's a volunteer organization in the Miss America program, it's the sponsors and the volunteers are the backbone. And without them, we wouldn't have a program. So we have that fear of that all going away from the television piece of it. And it may have to almost disband and then restart with a whole different group and that piece to it as well. With that said, I personally would love to see it stay the way it was with talent, swimsuit, evening gown, and interview being with a lot of the percentages maybe a little different, but to where every young lady that aspires, that can fit into those categories, could be Miss America. Do we want a 400-pound Miss America? I personally says that says a lot about health and wellness. I can tell you personally that when I trained in one swimsuit, and I'm one of the shortest women to have ever won swimsuit in the Miss America program, I've utilized those skills the rest of my life, and I never felt better emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, the whole gamut than when I was working out 4 hours a day and to compete for that. I never starved myself. I had the best of the best helping me get there, and I was fortunate to be able to say that. But I get that I'm just one of many, and I get that there are many women who would enter if there wasn't. Whatever the program becomes, they have to remember it's a business first. They also need to remember that if they're going to make changes, they should probably wait until it's a whole new group of people that are going to be competing instead of mid. That, of course, has caused a lot of the upheaval and uprise. So that really changes a lot as well. I'm going to see there's a lot of people that have joined us. For those who are just tuning in, my name is Carla Berline from Around Town TV, and we're talking about the Miss America pageant controversy. My poor neighbor was just going to start mowing his lawn when I started the conversation, so I did promise him I wouldn't stay on a long time, because in all reality, no matter what my opinion is, which many of you have reached out and asked, it doesn't matter. What's going to happen is going to happen. But I thought at least by explaining to all of you that there's the business piece, there's the television. I've been in TV 30 years. I understand producing of programs. I understand media buyers buying advertising based on rating points. So it's very important to get good rating points. Thus, the networks aren't going to want to be involved. Thus, the big advertisers aren't going to want to be involved either. And then we've got this Miss America pageant that's almost 100 years old and now we're getting to a point through the pageant that they're making these changes. Yes, it probably does need some updating. That will be for the chair and the board to decide, but they may not work together. If anybody has any questions, yes, Mom, you did have a story that sold those. Please feel free to reach out to me privately. You can comment here. You can private message me. Hi, Lou. Hi, Sue. Hi, Stephanie. A lot of people that have known me that aren't in pageantry. Hi, Kristen. But that's where people don't understand what's truly going on. Is you've got the business piece, you've got the pageant. Now they don't want to call it a pageant, a competition, and history has already spoken. I actually saw and have been part of for 35 years a program that never had crowns and banners. Well, they had a banner and a medallion. It was Miss Teen of America, and they added a crown. I thought that was a bad business decision for that pageant because it had a unique, exclusive way to recruit women where they were getting hundreds of young ladies through the school systems. And by adding the crown, that piece of advertising, the schools aren't going to want to be involved. So there's many different ways to do this and run it, but what people have to decide is who they're going to be, and then realize that TV might not be the answer, and the sponsors that would sponsor to be on TV aren't going to be, but it doesn't mean you can't be successful. But also there just has to be an opportunity for the young ladies that are going to get involved and compete to have that opportunity to know what they're getting into. Not all of a sudden start competing and someone say, well, and now we're not going to do swimsuit. Oh, and by the way, talent's going to be 50%. And that's what's causing the upheaval. And hopefully that will explain more for those of you who don't really care, or maybe you are tuning in because you have reached out to me and asked my opinion. But there's a lot of people who also don't understand the difference between Miss America, Miss USA, and all the other pageants out there. I can't tell you how many times somebody's walked up to me and said, I met Mrs. Minnesota. Well, we have Mrs. Minnesota United States, Mrs. Minnesota International, and Mrs. Minnesota America. But for those of us who've been in pageantry, and I have been since I was 11 years old, and I've staffed, and I've emceed, and I've judged programs, and I've been a state director, and I've been a national director, I have seen that it doesn't matter what you're doing, but if you know who you are and you know your brand and then address the business accordingly, everybody can be successful and happy, and young ladies getting involved know what they're getting into as well. It looks like I've had a lot of you, hello, a lot of people online joining in. I have had 40 years of pageantry experience, and I've had 30 years of TV experience, so just thought I would give my business perspective as a producer, TV, and of course, combined with the pageantry background. It's something I love. I love both industries. I want everyone to be successful. And most of all, I want the Miss America program to make it another 100 years. Thanks for tuning in. If you have comments or questions and you haven't asked, please feel free to reach out to me through private messaging, or you can comment on the post and I will look at them and answer. My name is Carla Berlin. Please tune in this coming Sunday as we bring the Starkey Gala, So the World May Hear Awards Gala, and all the celebrities live to you from the red carpet, starting at around 2:33 p.m. Central Time. Again, my name is Carla Berlin, and you've been watching Around Town TV. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.